Ladies and gentlemen, Muhammed bin Sulayem, the current FIA president, is preparing Formula One for a potential Saudi or Middle Eastern acquisition. That's his ultimate goal. He's the double agent. That's why he is in Formula One, like in the racing motorsport business. Now, that may sound like a conspiracy theory, especially with the way I just presented it. But in the rest of the episode, I will bring your attention to some of the incidents that have transpired in the recent past. I will remind you about certain incidents, and then you can decide in the end. Welcome to the first episode of Through the Gravel. I actually thought of doing an introductory episode where I just take things lightly, but considering the future of the sport is in danger, I had to talk about the ultimate goal of Muhammad bin Sulayem in the very first episode of my podcast. Let's start by looking at how Muhammad bin Sulayem became the president of the FIA and the promises that he made. So basically, he was going head to head against a guy called Graham Stoker. And this guy, he was lazy and he was a little bit corrupt to begin with. He did not promise anything new. He just wanted to continue things the way they currently existed. But Mohammed bin Sulayem, MBS, he came in and he is like, we gotta shake things up. He said that our objective is to improve racing and make FIA an organization that listens to its members for a sustainable future, for a more accountable future. And he valued transparency above everything. Because of this, he earned the trust of the FIA members and got over 60% of the vote and got a crushing victory. A few months after he became the president of the FIA, a Saudi public investment firm made a 20 billion US dollars bid to purchase Formula One. Liberty Media, the current owners of Formula One, didn't want to sell, so the deal did not go down. But in the interim, Mohammed bin Sulayem said that the value of Formula One is greatly inflated and is certainly not $20 billion. On the surface, it may appear like he is working against the organization. He is talking shit about FIA and Formula One and everything else. But in reality, he was thinking for the good of the potential new purchasers. He was basically saying, if you guys just hold on for a few years, I can mold this organization into something better that will give you better returns in investment. He basically said, I will give you a better deal if you just wait and chill out. He threw in words like, instead of just bringing in money, you need to bring in strategy, you need to bring in some sustainable goals and shit like that to appear like the natural party, not natural party, like the neutral party. But in reality, he was working for the best interests of the Middle Eastern investors. To his credit, MBS has actually done some positive organizational changes. The first includes the independent internal financial audit, which actually revealed that FIA has been sinking money. So they sunk about 24 million euros, about that amount, which is a lot, in 2021. Now, if you check the same number in 2024, they actually had like about a 2.2 million euro profit, which is actually a positive thing. So going from a 24 million euro deficit loss in 2021, and in 3 years, he turned it around into a 2.2 million euro profit. You gotta give the man his credit. But that's not the full picture. The full picture is actually a little bit dark. The 2.2 milli euro profit, it comes from two major sources. The first one is the fine and the financial penalties collected from the drivers. Usually the drivers together, all of the 20 drivers on the grid, all of the drivers on the grid pay about 50,000 euros in penalty throughout the whole Formula One calendar. In 2024, that was more than 330,000 euros. That's more than 6 times increase. Now, obviously, I'm not saying it's a majority of the 2.2 milli euro profit, but it is a considerable chunk. Another way Ben Sulayem managed to save this money for the FIA is by firing people. The most recent name that comes to my head is Neil Swittich, who was sacked under mysterious circumstances. The reasoning given by the FIA, like the official statement, does not coincide with what Wittich has been saying. I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, with what he is saying on his own socials. So all of the things that Muhammad bin Sulayem has promised about making FIA more for its member organizations and encouraging transparency and stuff like that, that's not entirely true. Yes, he has made FIA profitable. They are not sinking as much money as they used to, and that's putting it lightly. But at the same time, there is definitely a lack of transparency. And the third critical thing is not answering the GDPS questions about fund expenses. If you guys remember, sometime in 2024, George Russell wrote a letter to the FIA president, and he asked that we would like to know more about how the fine that FIA collects is being spent. And all we got in return from the FIA, from MBS, was crickets. There was no answer. Some weeks later, there was this another directive from the FIA which silenced the drivers entirely. They said that you guys need to shut the fuck up, and if whatever you say, if it can be interpreted as disrespect to the FIA, you will be fined even more. And that's the definition of a dictatorship. Now, I don't want to be stereotypical or racist, but it seems like a trend. If you're from a particular region of the world, then you are probably inclined to bring that type of governance structure into whatever organization you go to. So Muhammad bin Sulayem, MBS, bought dictatorship. I'm just saying, either way, he is milking money from the drivers by adding bullshit rules so that he can use that money to send it to FIA members and gain their support for the upcoming presidential election. That's basically what he is doing. Now the member organizations will continue to vote MBS into power, giving him even more power. This is going to become a dictatorship soon. And we are already seeing signs of it. He is literally grooming the FIA so it can be molded into the culture of that region of the world. He is literally doing that. He is removing all of the, fun things that people used to like about F1, like the driver swearing, all of the fun stuff, talking shit. He is removing all of that so that when the eventual Saudi acquisition happens, they can immediately mold into the culture of that part of the world. If you swear, you're gonna lose money, you're gonna get like penalty points in your super license, and eventually you can also lose championship points. Triple crown right there. Now, what does this mean for the future of the sport, right? If the championship of the 2025 season is decided outside of the track, then yes, Muhammad bin Sulayem has ruined racing. If that happens, like Max Verstappen is definitely gonna swear. Verstappen will swear to prove a point, and the point is swear ban rules are shit. They're stupid. And to prove that point, Max Verstappen will swear. So I don't know how much of an impact that will have in the final championship result of 2025 season. If that happens, then yes, MBS has ruined motorsports. It's very likely that he's going to ruin the sport, and his ultimate goal is to mold FIA and Formula One for Saudi acquisition. Will he succeed? We'll see. Will he ruin the sport? I think yes. Thank you for listening. like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.